Yo, YouTube, what's up with your boy? Sports and Fitness Rants. I'm back, guys. Click that like button. Subscribe to my channel. What's up, y'all? Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. Got another great video for you guys today. As usual, man, you guys know the deal, man. We must continue to set the record straight here, guys, and stop the lies and the narratives, man. And in this video, we're going to speak about Kevin Durant and, this idea that Kevin Durant is the greatest scorer in NBA's history. I've heard people say that Kevin Durant is the greatest scorer in NBA's history. And I do not believe that's true. I don't believe that Kevin Durant is the greatest scorer in NBA's history. Is he a great scorer? Yes, he's a great scorer. But the problem for Kevin Durant is that he doesn't have the mentality of an all-time great scorer. He just doesn't have that mentality, guys. And we're going to talk about it in this video, man. And I want to thank you guys, man. Everyone across the world, everyone across the states, man. I am truly humble, guys, by all the support, man. It means a lot, guys, for real. Thank you, everybody out there, man. Much respect to all you guys out there, man. Everyone across the world, everyone across the states, man. Wherever you're from, man, thank you for the support, man. We must continue to stand up to the lies and narratives, and we cannot allow them to rewrite the history of the NBA. We cannot allow this, guys. We cannot. So thank you for rolling with me, guys. This is very important, guys. It's about the integrity. It's about the honor. It's about the truth. And you guys know what to do. Turn the volume all the way up. Hit that play button. Remember, these videos are for educational purposes. And let's roll. So, yes, guys, like I said, man, Kevin Durant, recently someone posted a comment on one of my things, and they said about, Kevin Durant. They called Kevin Durant the greatest scorer in NBA's history. And they used it in reference to him joining the Golden State Warriors in the 2017 season. And they were saying how the Warriors added the greatest scorer of all time just to stop LeBron James, man. These are the nonsensical narratives and lies that the LeBron James fans come up with to justify LeBron James losing in the finals. Once again, it's all about the excuses. So they'll call Kevin Durant the greatest scorer of all time when those are not the facts, guys. Kevin Durant's not a greater scorer than Michael Jordan. He's not the greatest scorer of all time. Now, Kevin Durant, I believe, has 4 scoring titles, I want to say, and he won all those scoring titles within, I think, like 5 or 6 seasons, I want to say. So he had a time period there when he was on OKC where Kevin Durant was scoring the basketball, right? He was one of the best scorers in the game. He's probably one of the best scorers of his era, the greatest scorers of his era, up there with Steph Curry, guys like that. But when we think about Kevin Durant's mentality, this is what separates him and differentiates him from guys like a Will Chamberlain, a Kobe Bryant, a Michael Jordan, right? These guys who we considered great scorers, but also had a scorer's mentality, right? They had a scorer's mentality. Kevin Durant does not have that same mentality to score potently like that. He's a great scorer from the aspect that he can shoot, he can get to certain spots on the court, right? Like I said, he's got a nice stroke. So, yes, Kevin Durant has a great average for his career. I believe he averages 27 points a game, whatever it is for his career, which I believe is like number 4 in NBA's history, something like that. I believe he's number 3 or 4 in NBA's history in per game scoring in the postseason. But the problem for Kevin Durant lies in the potency of his scoring. And what do I mean by that? Well, let's think about something here, guys. When people talk about Michael Jordan scoring, right, and they consider him the greatest scorer of all time, why is that? Well, he happens to have, 10 NBA scoring titles, which is an NBA record. Okay, so that shows that he must be really great and potent at scoring. He led his league in scoring 10 separate occasions. Meanwhile, he only played 11 full seasons. So that's an indicator. Okay, but what else is an indicator? Michael Jordan has the highest scoring average in NBA's history in the regular season and the postseason. Well, it's not just in the regular season. It's in the regular season and the postseason, right? Michael Jordan has the highest points per game in an NBA Finals, right? In 1993, 41 points per game. So these are all indicators of Michael Jordan being the greatest scorer of all time. But what else do we point to? We point to Michael Jordan's on-court game. The overall game of Michael Jordan, right? The inside game in the paint game, the post-up game, the perimeter game, the off-the-dribble game, the off-the-ball game, the dunking game, right above the rim, under the rim, whatever it is. Michael Jordan could do it. On the break, in the half court, it doesn't matter. Michael Jordan had 0 weaknesses in his game. He can score from anywhere on the court at a high level, right? That's what the videotape shows us. Also, it doesn't matter when it is. In the regular season, the postseason, the NBA Finals, Michael Jordan is there. He doesn't disappear. He doesn't shrink. He does what? He steps up. He raises his level of play when it matters most. Another thing that points to Michael Jordan being the greatest scorer of all time. But when we apply that same logic to a Kevin Durant and we think about him being a potent scorer that way, and we think about his overall offensive game, and we think about the regular season, the postseason, and in the NBA Finals, to me, this is where Kevin Durant comes up small as far as the mentality goes, to score the basketball, to have that mindset. I've told you guys on this channel, Kevin Durant wants to be the guy that scored 25, 27 points a game and then go home and relax, right? He doesn't really want to be the leader, right? Which is why he went to the Golden State Warriors to ride the coattails of a Steph Curry, another all-time great scorer of that era, right? So when we think about these aspects, this is what I'm telling you guys. Kevin Durant does not have the mentality of an all-time great scorer to be potent like that, to attack and to constantly attack and never stop attacking. And where's the evidence of this stuff? Well, quite simply, guys, you guys probably don't even realize. I bet you even the Kevin Durant fans do not realize this. When people talk about Kevin Durant's potency on the offensive end, do you guys realize that Kevin Durant's never scored 60 points in a game? Never scored 60 points in a game, guys. That may not sound like a big deal, but when you're calling someone the greatest scorer of all time, these kinds of things matter. Because Kevin Durant happens to play in one of the softest, weakest eras in the history of the NBA, but yet he cannot score 60 points in a game. And why do I highlight this? Kevin Durant's career high, guys, in points is 55. 55. That is not impressive at all for someone who's considered the greatest scorer in NBA's history or one of the greatest scorers in NBA's history. 55 points in a game, guys, is not impressive for your career high. It's just not. Is it impressive for me? Could I do that? No, I couldn't do that. But we're talking about the all-time great scorers. That's not impressive. And I'm going to give you guys examples of how impressive it is. And I'm going to read some names off, guys, of players that have scored more than 60 points, or at least 60 points, where Kevin Durant's never even bumped above 55, guys. Think about some of these names. Joel Embiid, right? We all know. Now, these are all guys just from Kevin Durant's era, from his era we're talking about, right? A Joel Embiid, Damian Lillard, Donovan Mitchell, Devin Booker, Giannis, Harden, James Harden, Karl Anthony Towns, Steph Curry, Bradley Beal, Kemba Walker, Kyrie Irving, Klay Thompson. These are just some of the names I read off of Kevin Durant's contemporaries who have scored 60 or more in an NBA game, guys. This is insane, guys. Insane. Now, if we think about the postseason, it gets even worse, guys. Go look at the names in NBA's history of players who have scored more than Kevin Durant's career high. Kevin Durant's career high, guys, in the postseason for points in a game is 50. And you know when he did that? In the first round on the Golden State Warriors when they were playing the Los Angeles Clippers, guys, with Patrick Beverley and Lou Williams. He scored 50 against that team. Not impressive in the first round, guys. 50. That's his career high in the postseason, guys. 50. Russell Westbrook has scored more than that in the postseason, guys. Russell Westbrook, more than 50. Jimmy Butler has scored more than 50 in a postseason game. As a matter of fact, I believe Jimmy Butler scored 56 in a finals game. Kevin Durant's never sniffed that. So this exposes the potency of Kevin Durant's offensive game because of the lack of mindset that he has to attack the offensive end and be assertive and aggressive like the other great scorers in the history of the game. I mean, think about some of these names I read off, guys. It's not impressive. Kemba Walker, does anybody consider him an all-time great scorer? But he somehow managed to put up 60-plus in an NBA game. Once again, this is no knock on these guys. This is exposing Kevin Durant as the greatest scorer in NBA's history, guys. Who else? Donovan Mitchell, who is a scorer, I guess. But does anybody consider Donovan Mitchell one of the greatest scorers in NBA's history? No, guys, he's nowhere near that. But in this era, he scored multiple times over 60 or more. Not Kevin Durant. Donovan Mitchell has also scored a higher in the postseason than a Kevin Durant. Jamal Murray, guys, has scored more points in a game in the postseason than a Kevin Durant. Jamal Murray. Devin Booker has more points in a regular season game than Kevin Durant. Devin Booker, I'm not impressed with Devin Booker, guys. Giannis. This one was funny to me because Giannis has scored 64, which he recently did in a game, right? This week era we've talked about. But they always talk to us about how Giannis has no offensive skills. If you took Kevin Durant and Giannis and you compared their games, you would say what? Kevin Durant is a superior offensive player to a Giannis. You would say that, right? Oh, Kevin Durant's bag is way deeper than Giannis. Giannis has no skills compared to a Kevin. This is what they always tell you. However, once again, Kevin Durant gets exposed with the mindset and the aggression that he does not have, that Giannis does have, where Giannis will go out there and score 64 points in a game. But Kevin Durant's never done this. Never done this. Now, we can argue if some of these guys might have been stat padding. Absolutely, they were stat padding some of these guys. But Kevin Durant's career high, guys, is 55. 55. Once again, that's not impressive, man. Not impressive for someone who's supposed to be the greatest scorer in NBA's history. Now, I'm going to read off some names of guys in the history of the game that have scored 60 or more guys in the history of the game. These are not contemporaries of Kevin Durant. These are other great players. Obviously, so David Thompson, who scored, I believe, 71 in a game. David Thompson, no one knows David Thompson. People would definitely say that Kevin Durant's a much better offensive player than David Thompson. But meanwhile, David Thompson was able to score more points in a game in an era where they actually played more defense. Right? Michael Jordan, you guys obviously know Michael Jordan scored 69 points in a game. Right? He scored 60 points multiple times in his career. Still to this day has the highest scoring game in postseason history, 63 points against the Boston Celtics. Right? Still the highest game in postseason history, guys. We think about Kobe, right? Obviously, Kobe has multiple games that he scored 60 or more. Kevin Durant's never done this. Wilt Chamberlain. Obviously, Wilt Chamberlain, the dude owns basically every scoring record there is for the NBA's history. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar has scored more points in a game than Kevin Durant. Shaquille O'Neal has scored 60 or more in a game, guys. Tracy McGrady has scored 60 or more. Elgin Baylor, Pistol Pete Maravich, Karl Malone, George Gervin, Larry Bird, Allen Iverson, and George Mikan, guys. A lot of people, guys, didn't even realize that. Yes, George Mikan scored over 60 in the game, but Kevin Durant never did. Now, with all these players that I just mentioned, these are not stat padders. This is not soft, weak errors. So you can't say these guys were stat padding in those errors. These guys were going against actual defense, but the difference is what? The mentality of these players and the potency of their scoring. So once again, Kevin Durant might be a great scorer in the regard that he has, the ability to score, right, on the court, right? He's got a nice jump shot. He can get to certain spots. But when we think about the potency of Kevin Durant scoring, this is part of the problem. He doesn't have that potency because it goes to his lack of mindset to push, to do these things. I often talk about the 2016 Western Conference Finals. Where was Kevin Durant's potent scoring in that series? They were up 3-1, guys, and I want you to go back and look at the numbers that Kevin Durant put up in Game 6, and I want you to go look at the Kevin Durant in the fourth quarter of Game 7. This is what I'm talking about, guys, the lack of potency, the lack of mindset, the lack of Kevin Durant wanting it and going after it. Wilt Chamberlain was going after it, maybe too much so. Michael Jordan had the mindset. Kobe had the mindset. Larry Bird, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Elgin Baylor. These guys had the mindsets to attack and to score. So not only did they have the ability, the skills, right, the repertoire to score, but they had the mindset to go along with it. Kevin Durant does not have that mindset. Like I said, he's content with scoring 28, 30 points and going home. He's good with that. He don't want to try to go for 35 or 40 to really attack, to carry his team on the offensive end, to be that potent scorer. Because the funny thing is, with a Kevin Durant, what would people say? Oh, Kevin Durant doesn't want to be a ball hog or a shot chucker, but what else is Kevin Durant on the court doing? You're not doing anything else. If people are labeling you as the greatest scorer in NBA's history or one of the greatest scorers in NBA's history, then why not do that thing as great as you can? Because Kevin Durant's not, saving energy to rebound the basketball. He barely rebounds. He's a terrible rebounder for his size and position. He's not a great playmaker, right? So you're not saving energy for defense. So what does Kevin Durant do on the basketball court other than score at a high level? That's his greatest attribute. Whereas some of these other players, they did other things very well. Whether they were playmakers or rebounders or defensive players, right? We think about a Wilt Chamberlain, a Kobe Bryant, a Michael Jordan. These guys were elite-level defensive players. Or Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. We think about Larry Bird, who's a much greater rebounder, a much solid defensive player than a Kevin Durant ever was. So these guys did other things very well, but at the same time, they were able to be more potent on the offensive end. To me, it is glaring that Kevin Durant's never scored more than 55 points in a game, guys, even in this soft era. Because Kevin Durant's never had the mentality to be the greatest scorer in NBA's history. Never. You guys know the deal, man. You guys know the deal, man. Once again, Kevin Durant to me is not the greatest scorer of NBA. He's one of the greatest scorers. Yes, he's one of the greatest. You could probably put him in a top 5, a top 10 list of greatest scorers. But I'm not putting him up there with the Kobe's, the Jordans, the Will Chamberlains, some of these other guys. Even a Jerry West or an Elgin Baylor. These guys score when it mattered most. They did not ride the coattails of other players. What has Kevin Durant ever done leading a team? He hasn't done it. He hasn't done it, guys. This is the point that we're always making. Kevin Durant might have a great offensive game when people think about his skill. I've told you, what skills, though? Kevin Durant's a decent handle, and his jump shot is money, but that's it. That's literally it. His post-up game is not great. He doesn't come off screens great or move without the basketball great. He's good. He scores good because his jump shot is money. He gets to the free throw line, things of that nature, right? The three-point ball is prevalent in this NBA. Remember, a lot of these guys that I was talking about before were doing these scorings without three-pointers. Right? A lot of these guys have had the advantages of a three-point line to score these points, and yet still Kevin Durant still never managed to score 60 points in a game, not even one time. The man's been in the league for, 15, 16 seasons now? You couldn't go more than 55 points once, but they'll tell us how great of an offensive player Kevin Durant is, the best offensive guy, scorer in NBA's history. Nah, guys, not buying this, man. Not buying it. Not putting him against up above some of these other great scorers, man. I mean, my God, guys, even Allen Iverson had a better mentality, a scorer's mentality. Karl Malone just kept coming at you, man. There was no stop, no quit to Karl Malone. Dude was relentless. Tracy McGrady? Guys, think about it. Giannis has scored over 60 in a game, guys, but Kevin Durant never has. Donovan Mitchell. I mean, Kemba Walker. It's insane, guys. Insane. You guys know the deal, man. I'll catch you guys on the next one.